Jake Morrison wiped grease from his hands as he finished fixing the broken air recycler in Section 7 of Nexus Station. The work was boring, but it paid well enough to keep him fed and housed in this corner of space. He had been doing maintenance work for 3 years since leaving the military, and most days felt the same. Wake up, fix broken things, eat dinner alone, sleep, repeat. He was walking back to the maintenance bay when he heard crying. The sound was soft but strange, not quite human. Jake followed the noise down a side corridor that led to the old cargo bay. Most people avoided this area since it smelled like fuel and had poor lighting. 3 girls sat huddled together behind some old shipping containers. They looked human at first glance, but their skin had a slight blue tint and strange markings that seemed to glow faintly in the dim light. The oldest girl looked maybe 16, the middle one about 14, and the youngest around 12. All 3 were beautiful in a way that made Jake uncomfortable to notice. They wore torn clothing that might have been expensive once. The youngest girl was crying while the oldest held her close. The middle girl kept looking around nervously, as if expecting danger. Jake approached slowly with his hands visible. The girls tensed when they saw him coming. "Hey there," he said softly. "Are you okay? Do you need help?" The oldest girl stood up and moved in front of her sisters. She spoke in accented English that sounded like she learned it from old movies. "Please do not hurt us. We have nothing to steal." "I'm not going to hurt you," Jake said. "My name is Jake. What are your names?" The girl hesitated, then said, "I am Arya. These are my sisters Luna and Stella. Our father left us here." Jake felt his stomach drop. "Left you here? When?" "2 days ago, maybe. We are hungry." Jake looked at the 3 scared girls and felt something twist in his chest. He had seen plenty of horrible things during his military service, but abandoned children always hit him hard. "Come on," he said. "Let's get you some food." The girls followed him cautiously to the station's main food court. Jake bought them sandwiches and watched them eat like they hadn't seen food in days. Other station residents stared at the girls, some with curiosity and others with looks Jake didn't like. While they ate, Jake went to the security office. Commander Kate Rivers was on duty, a tough woman who had served in the Colonial Navy before taking this job. "Kate, I need to see the docking bay footage from 2 days ago," Jake said. "What's this about?" 3 alien girls. Someone abandoned them. Kate pulled up the security files. They watched a tall, blue-skinned man drag 3 struggling girls toward docking bay 12. The man looked desperate and kept glancing around nervously. "That's a Zephyrian," Kate said. "And those look like his daughters based on the family resemblance." The footage showed the man meeting with a human smuggler near a small cargo ship. Jake watched in disgust as the Zephyrian traded his own children for a bottle of what looked like expensive liquor and passage off the station. The smuggler took the bottle in payment, but when station security appeared for a routine check, he panicked and fled without taking the girls. "Son of a bitch," Jake muttered. "The girls are probably refugees now," Kate said. "I'll have to contact the processing center on Delta Station. They handle alien minors." "What happens there?" Kate's expression darkened. "Nothing good. It's overcrowded and underfunded. Kids disappear sometimes. The staff tries, but there are too many problems and not enough resources." Jake thought about the terror in Arya's eyes when she begged him not to hurt them. The idea of sending these girls to some processing center made him sick. What if someone wanted to take care of them here? "You?" Kate raised an eyebrow. "Jake, you live in a 1-room apartment and work maintenance. You don't know anything about raising kids, especially alien ones." "I know more than some overcrowded refugee center." Kate studied his face. "You're serious about this? Dead serious?" She pulled up forms on her computer. It would be temporary guardianship while we figure out their legal status. You'd need to provide housing, food, medical care, education. The station would do background checks and regular inspections. And Jake, these girls are going to attract attention. They're beautiful by human standards, and that makes them targets. Jake thought about walking away. His life was simple and safe. Taking care of 3 alien teenagers would change everything. But when he closed his eyes, he could see Stella's tears and hear Arya trying to protect her sisters. "I'll do it." Kate printed the forms. "You're either very brave or very stupid. Probably both." 2 hours later, Jake stood in his tiny apartment with 3 alien girls looking around nervously. The space that seemed adequate for one person suddenly felt impossibly small. "This is where you live?" Luna asked, speaking for the first time. "Yeah. It's not much, but we'll make it work." Stella sat on his bed and bounced a little. "It's soft. You can sleep there tonight. I'll take the couch." Arya shook her head. "We cannot take your sleeping place." "It's fine. Tomorrow we'll figure out better arrangements." Jake ordered more food from the delivery service and watched the girls eat. They were still nervous, but seemed less afraid. Luna kept staring at him, like she was trying to read his mind. Stella's markings glowed brighter when she smiled. Arya maintained her protective position near her sisters. "Why are you helping us?" Arya asked suddenly. Jake considered the question. He wasn't sure himself. Maybe it was because he remembered being scared and alone after his parents died. Maybe it was because someone had helped him once when he needed it. Or maybe he was just tired of being alone. Because you needed help, and I could give it. Many people saw us. Only you stopped. Then they're missing out. That night, Jake lay on his couch, listening to the girls whisper to each other in their native language. He had no idea what he was doing, or how he would manage 3 alien teenagers. His neat, simple life was over, but when he heard Stella giggle at something Luna said, he found himself smiling in the dark. Maybe complicated wasn't always bad. Jake woke up to the sound of water running and someone crying. He jumped off the couch and found Stella in his tiny bathroom, soaking wet and sobbing. The shower was running cold water over her clothes. "What happened?" he asked. "The water burns," she said through tears. Jake realized the temperature was set too hot for Zephyrian skin. He adjusted it to lukewarm and helped her out of her wet clothes, wrapping her in his bathrobe. Arya and Luna crowded into the bathroom looking worried. "I am sorry," Arya said. "We do not understand human things. It's okay. We're all learning." Jake spent the morning researching Zephyrian biology on his computer. Their body temperature ran lower than humans, and they needed different minerals in their food. They were stronger than they looked, and their strange markings were called biopatterns that responded to emotions and health. He also discovered something that made his blood run cold. The girls were from the Zephyrian royal family. Their mother had been a duchess who died defending their homeworld from raiders. Their father was a minor noble who inherited custody, but apparently couldn't handle the responsibility. "You never told me you were princesses," Jake said when the girls were dressed in clean clothes he had bought from the station's shops. Arya's biopatterns dimmed. "Former princesses. We have no home now. Your father was nobility?" "Father changed after mother died," Luna said quietly. "He started drinking the poison liquid and forgetting to eat. He said we were too much trouble." Stella curled up next to Jake on the couch. "Will you trade us too?" The question hit Jake like a punch to the stomach. "Never. I promise you that will never happen." His friend Danny Walsh stopped by that afternoon with supplies. Danny was a cargo pilot who had served with Jake in the military. He took one look at the girls and whistled low. "Jake, what have you gotten yourself into?" "These are Arya, Luna, and Stella," Jake said. Girls, this is Danny. He's a good friend." Danny shook hands with each girl politely, but Jake could see the concern in his eyes. They talked in the hallway while the girls watched an entertainment program. "Do you know what you're doing?" Danny asked. "Not really. Those girls are going to be in danger just by existing. You see how people look at them. And if word gets out they're former royalty, then I'll protect them." Danny studied his friend's face. "You really care about them already. They're just kids who got dealt a bad hand. Okay, what do you need?" Jake felt grateful for having a friend like Danny. "Bigger living space for starters, and information about Zephyrian customs, so I don't accidentally insult them or hurt them." Over the next few days, Jake learned more about his new family. Luna could read emotions through touch, which explained why she kept staring at him. She was checking if he was lying about protecting them. Stella could phase through solid objects when she was scared or upset, which made her hard to keep track of. Arya's biopatterns could produce bright flashes of light when she was angry. The girls were smart and picked up human customs quickly. They learned to use the food replicator and entertainment system. Stella loved human music and danced around the apartment. Luna enjoyed reading human books on Jake's computer. Arya studied everything with serious attention, like she was preparing for a test. Commander Kate Rivers visited to check on them. She found the girls helping Jake repair a broken wall panel while chattering in a mix of English and Zephyrian. "How are they adjusting?" she asked. "Better than I expected." "They're tough kids." Kate watched Stella hand Jake tools while Luna held a light for him to see. "They look happy. I think they're starting to trust me." "Good, because I have some information you need to know." Kate showed Jake intelligence reports about criminal organizations that trafficked alien minors, especially ones with royal bloodlines. The girls' genetic markers made them valuable for breeding programs or medical experimentation. "How many people know who they are?" Jake asked. "Too many. Word is spreading through the black market channels." That night Jake sat with the girls and explained they might be in danger. He expected them to be scared, but Arya just nodded. "We knew this would happen eventually," she said. "Mother told us we would always be hunted." "Then why aren't you afraid?" "We are afraid," Luna said. "But you make us feel safe." Stella grabbed Jake's hand. "Will you teach us to fight like humans do?" Jake looked at these three alien girls who had already survived losing their mother, being abandoned by their father, and living on the streets. They weren't asking him to hide them or run away. They wanted to learn to defend themselves. "Yeah, I'll teach you." The next morning, Jake started training them in basic self-defense. Arya was a natural fighter with quick reflexes. Luna's ability to read emotions helped her predict attacks. Stella was harder to train because she kept phasing through his strikes by accident when she got nervous. "You have to stay solid to block," Jake explained. "I cannot control it when I am scared. Then we practice until you're not scared anymore." Jake also taught them about human culture and social rules. They learned to shake hands instead of touching foreheads. They practiced ordering food and talking to shopkeepers. Arya was formal and polite. Luna was quiet but observant. Stella was friendly and curious about everything. People on the station started recognizing them as Jake's kids. The mechanic crew waved when they saw the girls. Shop owners smiled and offered them treats. Jake felt proud when other residents complimented him on how well behaved his daughters were. But not all attention was positive. Jake noticed certain people watching the girls too closely. Men who followed them with hungry eyes. Traders who asked too many questions about their origins. Jake started carrying his old service weapon and made sure at least one of them could contact him at all times. 2 weeks after finding them, Jake was fixing a navigation system when his communicator buzzed with an emergency signal from Arya. "Jake, help us. Bad men are here." He dropped his tools and ran toward the market district where the girls were shopping. His heart pounded as he thought about all the things that could go wrong. He had promised to protect them, and if something happened because he wasn't there. He found them backed against a wall by 3 men in expensive clothes. The men were speaking quietly, but their body language was threatening. Arya stood in front of her sisters with her biopatterns glowing bright white, which Jake now knew meant she was ready to fight. "Is there a problem here?" Jake asked in his best military voice. The men turned, and Jake saw they were professionals. Clean clothes, confident postures, and the slight bulges of concealed weapons. "No problem, friend," their leader said smoothly. "Just admiring these lovely young ladies. My daughters are interested in admiration from strangers." "Daughters?" The man smiled. "How interesting. We heard they were orphans." Jake moved closer to the girls. "You heard wrong." The men looked at each other, and Jake could see them calculating odds. 3 against 1 in public, with security cameras recording. They decided it wasn't worth the risk. "Perhaps another time," the leader said before walking away. Jake took the girls home and held them while they shook. He realized their peaceful life was ending before it really began. Jake knew trouble was coming when his maintenance equipment started breaking down. First, his plasma torch died during a routine repair, and his diagnostic scanner gave wrong readings. Finally, his magnetic boots failed while he was working on the station's outer hull, nearly sending him floating into space. "This isn't coincidence," he told Commander Kate Rivers in her office. "Someone's sending a message," she agreed. "Any idea who?" "Those men who cornered the girls last week. They're making it clear they can reach me anywhere." Kate pulled up security footage from the past few days. "Look at this." The screens showed the same well-dressed men from the market appearing throughout the station. They never approached the girls directly, but they were always nearby. In the food court when the family ate dinner. Near the school when Stella attended classes. Outside the apartment building where they lived. "They're mapping your routines," Kate said. "Professional stalking." Jake felt cold anger building in his chest. What do we know about them? The leader is Vincent Cross. He runs a luxury trading company that specializes in exotic goods. On paper, he's completely legal, but intelligence suggests he deals in things that aren't supposed to be sold. Like people. Like people. That evening, Jake sat with the girls in their new apartment. Danny had helped him find a bigger place with 2 bedrooms and better security. The girls were doing homework while Jake cooked dinner, trying to maintain normal routines despite the growing threats. "Someone has been asking about us," Arya said without looking up from her studies. Jake stopped stirring the sauce. "What do you mean?" "Luna hears things. People think she cannot understand, but she listens." Luna nodded. "The teachers at school. They ask strange questions about where we come from and if we are happy here. Not normal teacher questions. Shop owners too," Stella added. "They want to know if you take good care of us and if we ever want different families." Jake realized the threats weren't just about intimidation. Someone was building a case that he was an unfit guardian. If they could prove the girls were neglected or unhappy, legal authorities might remove them. "From now on, we stay together," Jake said. "No one goes anywhere alone." The next morning brought a formal visit from Child Protective Services. A stern woman named Mrs. Clark arrived with a clipboard and suspicious eyes. "We've received reports about the living conditions here," she announced. Jake let her inspect everything while the girls sat nervously on the couch. Mrs. Clark found nothing wrong but clearly wanted to. She questioned the girls about their health, education, and emotional well-being. "Are you happy living with Mr. Morrison?" she asked Stella. Double quotes, "Yes. Jake is the best papa ever." "Papa?" Arya spoke up with dignity that reminded Jake she had been raised as nobility. "Jake Morrison saved our lives and treats us with kindness. He is our family now." Mrs. Clark left, without finding grounds for removal, but Jake knew she would return. Someone had influence and money working against them. The situation escalated 2 days later, during what should have been a normal school trip. Stella's class visited the station's botanical gardens to study plant biology. Jake was at work when his communicator exploded with panicked messages. The first was from Stella herself, her young voice tight with fear. "Jake, help. Bad men are here. They want to take me." Jake dropped everything and ran toward the gardens. His military training kicked in as he moved through corridors, taking the fastest route while avoiding security checkpoints that would slow him down. He arrived to find chaos. Teachers were herding children toward exits, while security guards engaged armed men in expensive suits. Jake spotted Stella hiding behind a large tree, her body flickering between solid and transparent as her fear triggered her phasing ability. 3 kidnappers moved toward her position. They carried stun weapons designed to work on alien physiology. Jake recognized them as the same professionals who had been stalking his family. "Station security, freeze!" Commander Rivers shouted as she arrived with backup. The kidnappers ignored her and fired their weapons. Jake rolled behind cover as energy bolts scorched the air where he had been standing. He drew his own weapon and returned fire, trying to create a path to reach Stella. "Papa!" Stella screamed as one kidnapper got close enough to grab her. The man's hands passed right through her as she instinctively phased, but he was ready for this. He activated a special device that created an energy field. Stella solidified with a cry of pain, trapped by technology designed specifically to counter her abilities. Jake felt rage consume him. These bastards had come prepared to hurt a 12-year-old girl. He moved with deadly precision learned in military combat, taking down 2 kidnappers with precise shots. Commander Rivers and her team surrounded this third man, who was dragging Stella toward an emergency exit. The kidnapper pressed a weapon to the girl's head. "Back off, or she dies," he shouted. "Let her go," Jake said, stepping into the open with his hands visible, but not surrendering his weapon. "You should have taken the deal when it was offered nicely," the man said. "Now we do this the hard way." "What deal?" "Vincent Cross made you a generous offer. Compensation for your trouble, and guarantee the girls go to good homes. You said no." Jake laughed bitterly. "Good homes? You mean breeding facilities, or worse. You cannot protect them forever. We have resources you cannot imagine." Stella looked at Jake with tears in her eyes. "I am sorry, Papa. I tried to be brave like you taught me." "You are brave, sweetheart, braver than any of us." Jake made a decision that went against every tactical instinct. He holstered his weapon and walked toward the kidnapper. "Take me instead." "What? You want leverage against the girls? Take me. Trade their father for them." The kidnapper hesitated. This wasn't part of his plan. In that moment of confusion, Stella. Phase shifted again, slipping through his grip like smoke. Jake tackled the man while Commander Rivers moved in for the arrest. The fight was brief and brutal. Jake had years of combat experience and protective fury driving him. The kidnapper never had a chance. Later, while medics checked Stella for injuries, Jake held his shaking daughter close. Her sisters arrived with Danny, who had picked them up from school when the emergency call went out. "Are you hurt?" Arya asked, examining her youngest sister carefully. "I am okay. Jake saved me." Luna touched Jake's arm, reading his emotions. "You were very scared." "Terrified," Jake admitted. "I thought I might lose you." Commander Rivers approached with grim news. "The kidnappers aren't talking, but we found communication equipment linking them to Vincent Cross. He's not on station anymore. Flew out this morning on a private ship, so he's gone? For now. But Jake, this was a professional operation with inside information. Someone on station is feeding them intelligence about your movements." Jake looked at his 3 alien daughters and realized their peaceful life was over. Vincent Cross had declared war and demonstrated he could strike anywhere, anytime. The girls weren't safe on Nexus Station anymore. "We need to leave," Jake said. "Where will we go?" Arya asked. Jake thought about the frontier colonies where human law was simpler and distances provided protection. It would mean abandoning the only stable life he had known, but his daughters were more important than his comfort. Somewhere they can't follow. That night Jake began planning their escape while the girls slept in his bed, too scared to be separated. He studied star charts and contacted old military friends who might help. Vincent Cross had made this personal by threatening Stella. Jake intended to make sure the man regretted that decision. But first, he had to get his family somewhere safe, even if it meant running to the edge of known space. The girls trusted him to protect them, and he would not fail them again. Tomorrow they would start a new life as fugitives, but they would face it together. Jake was packing emergency supplies when Commander Rivers burst into his apartment without knocking. Her face was pale and angry. "We have a problem," she said, holding up a legal document. Vincent Cross filed ownership papers for the girls. He claims their father signed them over as collateral for debts. Jake read the papers and felt sick. The documents looked official, complete with Zephyrian legal seals and witness signatures. According to the paperwork, the girls' father had borrowed money from Cross and used his daughters as guarantee for the loan. "These have to be fake," Jake said. "Maybe, but proving it will take weeks or months. Cross filed them with the Interstellar Commerce Court. Until we can challenge the documents, he has legal claim under interspecies contract law." Arya looked up from where she was teaching Stella to fold clothes efficiently. "What does this mean?" Jake knelt down to meet her eyes. "It means a bad man is trying to use fake papers to take you away from me." "But you will not let him," Luna said. It wasn't a question. "Never." Commander Rivers checked her communicator. "Cross is already on his way back with a legal enforcement team. His ship will dock in 6 hours. Then we leave in 5 hours. Jake, if you run with those girls while he has legal claim, you become a kidnapper under interstellar law. Every station and colony will be required to arrest you." Jake continued packing. "Then we'll go somewhere they can't follow." Danny arrived 30 minutes later with his cargo ship prepped for immediate departure. He had loaded extra food, medical supplies, and emergency equipment without asking questions. "Where to, Captain?" he asked Jake. "New Haven Colony." "It's far. Enough from the main trade routes, and they have their own legal system. That's 3 jumps through hyperspace. Cross will try to intercept us." "I know." The girls finished packing their few possessions in silence. Jake watched them work together with quiet efficiency and felt proud of how strong they had become. Arya organized everything with military precision. Luna anticipated what they would need before Jake asked. Stella kept her emotions controlled to prevent accidental phasing. "I am scared," Stella admitted as they prepared to leave. Jake picked her up, something he rarely did now that she was getting older. "Me too, sweetheart. But we're going to be okay. Promise?" "Promise." They made it to Danny's ship without incident, but Jake knew Cross would have spotters watching the docking bays. Their departure would be reported within minutes. The ship lifted off and jumped to hyperspace, just as Cross's luxury vessel appeared on the station's sensors. The race was on. Danny's cargo hauler wasn't built for speed, but it was reliable and had good defenses. They made the first jump to the Kepler system without problems. During the 12-hour travel time, Jake trained the girls in emergency procedures. "If we get boarded, you follow the escape plan exactly," he said. "No heroics, no trying to help me fight. Your job is to survive." "We will not leave you," Arya said firmly. "Yes, you will. If something happens to me, you take care of each other and find somewhere safe." The second jump took them to the frontier system of Cygnus. As they dropped out of hyperspace, Danny's sensors immediately detected pursuit ships. 3 vessels, military configuration, Danny reported. They're fast. Jake strapped himself into the gunner's position, while the girls secured themselves in the passenger area. The first attack came as plasma bolts that lit up the darkness around them. "Hold on," Danny shouted as he threw the ship into evasive maneuvers. Returned fire while the ship bucked and rolled. The attackers were professionals with good equipment, but they were trying to disable rather than destroy. They wanted the girls alive. "Jake," Arya called from the passenger compartment. "We want to help. Stay strapped in." Our abilities could be useful. Jake realized she was right. During the fight at the Botanical Gardens, he had seen hints of what the girls could do when pushed to their limits. Maybe it was time to find out what they were really capable of. "What do you have in mind?" "Luna can sense the emotions of the attacking pilots. She might be able to predict their moves. I can create light flashes that could blind their sensors." "Stella could phase into their ships." "Absolutely not. Stella stays on this ship." A cargo hauler shuddered under another hit. "Their shields were failing, and the engine was making worrying noises." "Luna, can you read the pilots from this distance?" "Yes. There are 6 of them. They are confident, but not completely focused. One is worried about damaging us too much." "Good. Danny, prepare for a hard turn to starboard." "Ready." "Luna, tell me when the worried pilot is about to fire." "Now." Danny threw the ship sideways, just as plasma bolts passed through the space where they had been. Jake used the maneuver to line up a shot on the pilot Luna had identified as nervous. His weapons found their mark, and one of the pursuit ships fell behind with engine damage. 2 ships remaining, Danny reported. The attackers changed tactics, splitting up to attack from different angles. Danny couldn't avoid both directions at once, and their shields failed completely. "We're sitting ducks," he said. That's when Arya made her decision. She unbuckled her restraints and moved to the observation window. "Arya, get back in your seat," Jake shouted. "Trust me, Papa." Her biopatterns began glowing brighter than Jake had ever seen. She placed her hands against the transparent aluminum window and focused. Light erupted from her body like a miniature star. The attacking ship's sensors were overwhelmed by the brilliant flash. Their targeting systems failed, and they flew blind for several crucial seconds. Jake used the opportunity to disable the second ship with precise weapons fire. The last pursuer tried to ram them in desperation. Danny rolled the ship to avoid collision, but the attacker's wing clipped their cargo bay. Both vessels spun wildly as they dropped toward the system's asteroid field. "Emergency landing," Danny announced as he fought for control. They crashed on a mining asteroid called Haven Rock. The impact threw everyone around despite their restraints. Jake's head hit the bulkhead hard enough to see stars. When his vision cleared, he found Stella helping Luna sit up while Arya checked Danny for injuries. "Is everyone alive?" Jake asked. "Bruised but functional," Danny replied, testing his controls. "But we're not flying anywhere soon. The engine is cracked, and we're leaking atmosphere." Jake checked his weapon and looked out at the rocky landscape. "Where are we?" "Haven Rock Mining Colony. About 3,000 people. Independent operation. No major law enforcement." "Good. Maybe we can hide here while we repair the ship." Stella pointed at the sky where lights were moving. "The bad men are coming." Sure enough, the surviving attack ship was landing nearby. Jake counted at least 12 armed figures disembarking. "They'll have us surrounded in minutes," Danny said. Jake looked at his 3 alien daughters and realized they weren't children anymore. The past few months had forged them into something new. They moved with confidence, and their abilities were growing stronger under stress. "All right, girls, no more hiding. If these people want to fight, Let's give them one they'll never forget. Aria's biopatterns pulsed with determination. We are ready, Papa. Luna smiled grimly. They will regret hunting us. Stella became briefly transparent and solid again, testing her control. What is the plan? Jake checked his weapon and thought about the abandoned mining tunnels he could see in the distance. The terrain would favor defenders who knew how to use it properly. We're going to show Vincent Cross why humans protect their families. And we're going to teach his mercenaries what happens when you threaten alien princesses who learn to fight like humans. The hunt had become a battle, and Jake intended to win. The mining tunnels of Haven Rock became their fortress. Jake led his family deeper into the abandoned sections where the air was thin and the lighting was poor. Danny stayed with the ship to make repairs while monitoring communications. The miners are staying neutral, he reported over the radio. But some of them are asking questions about who you people are. Jake set up defensive positions at tunnel intersections while the girls explored their new abilities. The past few hours had changed them. Stella could now phase selectively, making parts of her body solid while others remained transparent. Luna's telepathy reached further and worked on non-Zephyrians when she concentrated. Aria's light production had become controllable and intense enough to cut through metal. We are not the same children you found on the station, Aria observed. No, you're not. You're something much stronger. Cross's mercenaries entered the tunnels in professional formation. Jake watched them through surveillance cameras the miners had left behind. 12 soldiers with military training and equipment designed to hunt aliens. They have stun nets and tranquilizer weapons, he told the girls. They still want you alive. Their mistake, Luna said quietly. The first contact came at Tunnel Junction 7. Jake had rigged mining explosives to collapse the passage behind. The soldiers cutting off their retreat. When they triggered the trap, Luna sensed their panic through the rock. 3 are injured. The others are angry and scared. Good. Angry people make mistakes. Stella phased through solid rock to appear behind the soldiers. She didn't attack, but her sudden appearance made them spin around, firing at shadows. Jake used their confusion to pick off 2 more with precise shots. The remaining soldiers tried to regroup in the main cavern, but Aria was waiting for them. Her biopatterns erupted in blinding flashes that overwhelmed their night vision equipment. In the darkness that followed, Luna guided Jake's movements telepathically while Stella struck from impossible angles. This is not possible, one soldier shouted. The intelligence said they were just kids. Jake smiled grimly as he moved to a new position. Cross's information was months out of date. The girls had grown into something their enemies couldn't understand. The battle lasted 3 hours. Jake used every trick he had learned in military service, while the girls demonstrated abilities that seemed to evolve during combat. They moved like a team that had trained together for years instead of months. When the shooting stopped, 8 of Cross's soldiers were captured, and the other 4 were dead. Jake felt no guilt about the deaths. These people had come to kidnap children. Danny, status report, he called on the radio. Engine repairs complete. Also, we have company. Jake led the girls back to the surface, where a fleet of ships was arriving. His heart sank until he recognized the lead vessel. Those are Colonial Navy markings. Aria said Commander Rivers appeared on the communication screen. Jake, are you and the girls all right? We